Hi guys, welcome to my channel. Today's video is going to be about young girls on the internet and the dangers of them being famous on the internet. This is I don't feel like many people talk about this, but I think that's because we're just now starting to look back and be like, whoa, things should not have happened the way that they did. And if you're in like my generation, if you're now like college age and you kind of grew up on the internet, I think that you'll really understand what I'm talking about and relate to this topic so much, whether you experience these types of things yourself or whether you just like watched it play out on the internet. It's a very serious topic, and I think that it should be addressed more with the new generations coming onto the internet and being exposed to internet fame and just going viral and things like that. So yeah, that's what I'm pretty much going to be talking about. I'll dive more into it when I get into the video, but before I do get into it, please go ahead and give this video a big thumbs up and subscribe to my channel for more content like this. And yeah, and oh, if you could comment down below like any suggestions you have for other videos that I could possibly do, please let me know. And yeah, let's just go ahead and get into the video. So the first person that I want to talk about, and the person who prompted me to make this video, is Madison Beer. Now, if you don't know who Madison Beer is, I made, I think, 2 videos on her on my channel thus far. But basically, she is a singer. She's kind of more internet famous than anything else. She was quote unquote discovered on the internet, even though she wasn't, but that's a whole other conspiracy. Well, it's not really a conspiracy, it's the truth, but if you want to know more about that, you should just watch my other videos. But she's just really known on the internet. Like, if you lived on the internet in like I would say like 13, 14, maybe even 15, then you definitely know who Madison Beer is. She was supposed to really have a great career, but it didn't really pan out the way that it should have. She's still just mostly popular amongst the people that she became popular amongst in the first place, if that makes any sense. So she hasn't really, I don't think that she's really expanded her audience much, and she's really flopped a lot. However, she's still known. Like, a lot of people still know her, so it's a weird, she's more of an internet influencer than anything else. So anyways, Madison Beer, when she was young, when she was like 14, that's what she said on her Instagram, she sent nudes to this boy and they got leaked. And I remember when these nudes got leaked, and I was on the internet, and I just remember thinking a lot of things. But I'm just gonna go ahead and share what she wrote on her Instagram about those nudes that were leaked and how some other videos from when she was 14 are being passed around now. So new videos of when she was 14 are being passed around as well. So I just wanted to go ahead and show you what she wrote and give you a little time to read that. And then I'll come back with everything else that I have to say. So when I read that, the first thing that I felt was awful. Because when Madison was 14, I was like 12, maybe 13. She's like a year and a half older than I am. So I was very, very young myself. And I remember judging her. I just remember thinking, why would you send nudes? Like, you're only 14. Like, why are you sending nudes? Like, that's so disgusting. Like, you're a disgusting person. But I was also 12. Now being 19 and looking back at the past, I'm like, goodness gracious, who in the world is leaking a 14-year-old's nudes? And who in the world is leaking nudes in general? Like, that's the first thing. Who in the world is sharing these nudes, regardless of who this person is on the internet? At the end of the day, that is a person, and that at that time she was a 14-year-old person. Quite frankly, even if her nudes today were leaked, you shouldn't pass those around. Why? Because that's a person at the end of the day, and it wasn't meant for your eyes. And over time, I think I've realized, like, we really shouldn't, like, these nudes being passed around, it's becoming so desensitized in society now, and it's wild to me. And what I think that we seem to forget with these young girls who are on the internet is that they are in fact minors, and they are in fact children. That's I think one of the things that we are just missing in social consciousness is how young these girls are. Madison Beer is still young. She just turned 21. Do you know how young 21 is? I'm younger than that, and I think I'm starting to really understand how young I've been my whole entire life, But you think in your head that you're so much older than what you are. And in turn, you think that other people around your age are also older than what they are. But in fact, she was only 14. Looking back, I'm like, 14 is a baby. And she was getting exposed in this way. When you're 14, especially on the internet, because the internet really changed how kids grew up. Kids started looking at people who were older and just emulating everything that they did. I mean, we already do that naturally as human beings, growing up, you always emulate people who are older than you. But when you start to see just all of these people on YouTube and on Instagram and on Twitter acting a certain way, you think that you should act that way as well, whether it's good or bad. 14-year-olds, they want to be grown so badly. They want to do grown folk things except pay the bills. That's literally, they want to do every grown thing except actually be grown. And so at that time, you're looking at this girl and you're thinking, oh, it's totally fine to look at her nudes because you just think of her as an adult. But we don't remember, and what we need to remember and remind ourselves of is that they were in fact young kids trying to figure things out just like we were. And it just reminds me of how internet culture can be very good, but it can also be very bad. Because not only were we as kids exposed to all of these adult topics like nude photos and just all of these things that we shouldn't have been exposed to at the time. If you're 14, you should not be exposed to that type of stuff, period. And you're gonna realize that when you get older, that you should have never seen that when you were younger. But even beyond that, it's like we're not allowing ourselves to grow up in a healthy way. We're speeding up the process to where Madison Beer feels like she's gone through way too much at 21 years old. Way too much on the internet because of the internet fame that she has. And that brings me to another person. Now, if you're watching this and you're like around my age, I am positive you know who this girl is. If you haven't, if you've lived on the internet, which I have, if you don't know her name, you at least know her face because she was one of those Tumblr girls. She was like the OG Tumblr girl. Acacia Clark, I think that's her last name now, but she went by Acacia Clark. That was like her old name. She's now married, which is an insane idea to wrap my mind around. The fact that Acacia Clark is married with not one, but 2 children. I can't wrap my mind around that. That means that I'm probably getting old. But Acacia Clark was again, like I said, she was one of the OG Tumblr girls. She was one of those girls that every girl wanted to be. I remember every girl's Instagram was just trying to be like Acacia Clark's Tumblr and Acacia Clark's Instagram. And she was another girl who, at a very young age, her nudes were being exposed. And I remember being, I think, the same age as I was when Madison's were exposed. I remember they were two girls that I really did not like. And I still don't really like Madison Beer for a few reasons, but Acacia Clark now, she's just like a mom, like a vegan mom raising her kids in Oregon. And I like watch her videos sometimes and I'm like, wow, she seems like an actually really sweet girl. But she went through a lot because of the internet. And her nudes being exposed, at the time you're thinking, wow, you really sent nudes? Like, that's so disgusting. But she was a teenager. She was in high school. She was so young and so impressionable, just like we all were. And we're looking to her to be more mature than we are, when in fact, she is just like we are. She's just trying to figure things out at that time. And I look back and I feel so bad for her. I'm like, you did not know anything, you know? Should they have been sending nudes at the age of 14, 15? No, they shouldn't have. But should those boys have been asking for them? No. And that's the real problem. And like I said with Madison, it's the same that I feel with Acacia. She grew up so quickly because of the internet. Because you see these celebrities doing all of these things and being provocative on the internet. And you think that you can do that because your 14-year-old brain can't process the fact that you are 14, you know, that you are young. You can't process that. You don't understand how to grow up because you've never done it before. And then adults tell you, you know, don't do this. You're only this age. But you're thinking, well, I know so much. I feel grown. I look at these other people who I feel like are my peers, but they're 10 years older than I am. And I think that they're my peers because we follow each other on Instagram. So I feel grown. And you know what? I can do what I want. And that's not how it should be. But at the end of the day, she was a child. They were both children. And for them to be exposed in that way was just it's so sad to me. You know, I have a little sister who's 13 right now, and I have another sister who's 15. And thinking about them growing up in that time and possibly becoming internet famous and having all of these boys, because of the fact that you're internet famous, all of these boys, and just because of the fact that you're pretty, I mean, come on, you know, trying to get at you in your Instagram DMs, and you find one and you're like, oh my gosh, he is beautiful. And then you start talking to him and he's like, well, come on, I just want to see your body, you're so beautiful, and and just trying to tell you anything that he can to get those pictures out of you. And then he gets them and then he leaks them. How betrayed do you feel? How low do you feel? How much of your self-esteem is just gone? Because not only are your private photos exposed, but then also people now can judge those photos too. They can judge your bare body and tell you what you need to fix with it. That's another thing. People can now put their input in everything that you, in your whole entire body, rather than, you know, just your arms or your legs. They can now, you know, judge the most intimate parts of you that really no one should be able to see except a person that you are in a deep committed relationship with. And at 14, you really shouldn't see anything, even if you have a boyfriend. You know, one thing that I kind of disagreed with Madison was when she was talking about exploring her sexuality at 14. Sis, no. You're not supposed to be exploring anything but a history book. Thank you very much. Like, that's what you're supposed to be exploring. You have time. No one, I don't think that kids understand. So you have so much time to do those things. You will have the rest of your life to be an adult. Stay a kid for as long as you possibly can, because once you got to get a job, it becomes real. Once you have a job, once you have to pay for your own stuff, once you have to pay your own phone bill, once you have to do all those things, then you really realize how young you used to be and how you used to have everything and how you shouldn't have wanted to grow up, because growing up isn't always the best thing. It's natural and it's a part of life, but it isn't always the best thing, and you shouldn't want to speed up that process. But you see, they were so young. Of course, they're not going to understand that concept. No one really understands that until they're past that age, and then they understand how naive they were in thinking that, they could be grown or they could do these adult things, and wanting to be an adult isn't always the best thing. So now I'm looking at the new generation. I'm looking at Charli D'Amelio specifically. She caught some backlash recently for posting some TikToks in a bikini where she's like dancing to, honestly, she dances to some provocative lyrics for sure, and like doing dances to these songs that are definitely not appropriate for. And I understand that, listen, I'm still a teenager. I understand kids listen to it. It's just a fact of life. But to post you dancing in that way in a bikini to 30, almost 35 million people, it's not the best. And I'm not criticizing her because she's 15. She doesn't know any better. She does not know any better. But her parents do, or her parents should. And if they don't, should they really, are they really responsible enough to have two teenage daughters? Because she has an older sister who's 18, which also, if I'm the older sister, I'd be looking at my little sister like, no, you're not doing that. We're taking that down. You're not doing that. Not just, I think it's more so to protect her than anything else. There are predators who will prey on 15-year-old girls on the internet. They will prey on you. They will slide in your DMs and they will catfish you. They will try to get anything out of you. And the next thing you know, Charli D'Amelio's nudes are leaked. That's what's going to happen. It's inevitable. I don't think that young girls should be internet famous. I really don't. Because it only leads to turmoil. It only leads to, now suddenly they're getting exposed. Now suddenly, they didn't send nudes to the right person. They shouldn't have been sending nudes in the first place, but now their body is online. Now this, now that, now everybody hates them. Now they feel horrible, and they're only 15. They're only 16. And they don't know how to navigate it, because it's not like Disney Channel where there's like a barrier and it's just like fans and then that celebrity and that actress who's put on a pedestal. With people on the internet, it's so much easier to get access to them rather than, these child stars who also, on top of that, have guidelines that they have to follow anyway. So they can't send nudes even if they wanted to, because that's in violation of their contract, and just different things like that. She has so much more freedom to make those types of mistakes. And at 15, you will make those types of mistakes. Now, do I hope and pray that Charli D'Amelio doesn't get exposed and her news don't get exposed? Oh yes, If she can go on and just have a fun, internet famous career and, do what she wants to do and just has fun on TikTok, then great. I'm so happy for her, and I wish the best for her. She seems like a young, sweet, just innocent girl. She seems like a nice girl. But do I foresee something like that happening because of the past? Because of not just Madison's example and Acacia's example, but so many other girls who have been exposed for the same things? Yes, I do see it in her future. Why? Because it's almost inevitable. you know, being that internet famous, it's almost inevitable that that you're going to have more of a target on your back. That when you talk to a boy, he doesn't have the right intentions. You know, boys asking for nudes in the first place really don't have the best intentions, let's be honest here. But when you're internet famous, does he have the right intentions when talking to you? Does he have the right intentions? When you make him mad, is he just going to expose you and then, you know, get a bunch of clicks on Twitter, and now he has more followers and more Instagram followers because he exposed you? It gets that deep to where you're like, someone else is benefiting off of betraying me, and that could very well happen to her. So I'm scared for her. I am scared for all of these girls who are famous on the internet, famous on TikTok. There are so many young girls who are famous on TikTok, and I am so just scared for them, because it's clear that, you know, their parents really aren't managing what they're putting out as content, because dancing to those types of lyrics, yeah, your parents really aren't, you know, managing what you dance to and how you do it. Like, they're not doing that. So what else are they not managing? Obviously, they're not managing your Instagram DMs. They're not managing who you're talking to and how you're talking to that person. And I understand that the internet is new territory for so many people. Even now, more apps are coming out, and it's so hard to navigate for the older generation and for parents. But at the end of the day, they have to be diligent. And I blame her parents, and I blame Danielle Cohn's parents. I blame so many parents for letting their children just run wild on the internet so that these things happen. Even Madison Beer's parents and Acacia Clark's parents. But at the time, I think it was so new in their situations. But now with Charli D'Amelio and Danielle Cohn and all of these young girls, it's not that new anymore. You've seen examples, so now take action. And I mean, I hope that her parents are taking action in some ways, but it doesn't seem like it if she's dancing to such lewd and explicit lyrics in a bikini. You know, it's a lot. But honestly, I still have hope that maybe these types of things don't happen to her, but I definitely do foresee them. Happening, unfortunately. Anyways, that's really it for this video. Please enjoy this obligatory Tom Holland picture as I close out. But just to wrap it up and just to kind of conclude this video, my heart goes out to all of the girls who were exposed at some time on the internet when they were in their teens. They didn't know any better. Like, it hurts me to know that they felt like they could trust this person and they felt like they were trying to please this person, and then they went and they betrayed them. That's a horrible feeling, and I don't wish that on my worst enemy. Honestly, I don't. But I just hope that moving forward, we can look at those examples, and parents especially can understand, okay, this is what my child should not do. You know, this is what I should not let my child go through. I shouldn't, and I'll take any measures and precautions necessary to ensure that she does not go through this, because no person deserves to go through something like that. And also, if you're passing these nudes around, I hope you get federally prosecuted, because that is child pornography. Thank you very much. Anyways, that is it for me. Thank you so much for watching. If you did enjoy this video, please give it a big thumbs up. Go ahead and comment down below what you think of this entire topic in general. There's a lot of different opinions, but I just want to hear yours. Go ahead and comment that down below, and please do subscribe to my channel. And just thank you again so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.